Her body like the Wild Wild West. What if you done wild out, yeah? Riding in the big God bless. She's all inferno.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Sunday Funday podcast. I'm your host for the evening, Pinkerton, joined by Hardley, and our guest for the evening, it's Mr. Chuck. We are rolling along with the preseason series. Chuck, the guest of honor, how's it going tonight, pal?
It's going good tonight. I carried Hardly a lot today in PGA 2K. And that's always fun. But yeah, it's going pretty good right now.
Getting the last of that stick time before fantasy watching consumes your Sundays?
Yeah, absolutely. Will definitely be taking less time to play Xbox once baseball starts. I'd say that's for sure.
That'll be a tough adjustment, I'm sure. But I mean, you still work it in here and there, right?
Of course, you got to work it in here and there, but we'll see.
Hardly is that carrying nonsense. Any truth to that?
He's pretty good at PGA, but I don't know if I'd consider him carrying. If he's carrying me in that, then I've been carrying him in FIFA all day too.
If you would have said Apex, you'd have an argument. But
I don't know. I did score like 9 of our 12 goals in FIFA, so.
You guys got any other questions?
I do want to know. I have a few for you, Chuck. I think Hardly does as well, but I do want to know first and not foremost, I guess. First and like close to last most, but it's a kind of a formality. How is life outside of fantasy baseball?
Life outside of fantasy is solid. Since the season ended, I got engaged, so I have a fiance now. So that's pretty cool.
Love it.
The Bengals didn't have a good year, so that sucked. The Reds hired Tito. That was awesome. So I'm excited for that. And yeah, weather's warming up. Ready to get outside, play some golf. But
Absolutely.
I had a 4 overtime basketball game last night, which sucked. That was one of the worst games I've ever done in my lifetime.
You were working it. You weren't playing it.
I was working it. Yeah.
Okay.
I think playing it actually might have been worse, but I literally might have died if I'd played over 4 overtimes. But working it was pretty fucking bad too, I will say.
And it's not like any kind of overtime bonus for you. I'm sure it's just like same pay for like a lot more hours of work.
For the position I was in last night, I was a director last night. I did not get OT. But if I was a technical director, which what I usually am, I would have gotten OT. But I wasn't, so I didn't.
That sucks. So you're sitting on the opposite end of the people at B-dubs hitting the overtime button. You're like, do not, because it's free.
100%. Yeah, I was verbally and visibly upset last night. Everybody in the
over with.
But
you should just start betting overs to hedge against that, though. So you're like, if I have to work overtime, then
that's not a bad way to do it, to go about it.
Chuck, what do you make of this perception around you not caring, be it fact or fiction?
I don't care.
That's
about the opinions.
I thought you were asking, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get those a lot, as you guys know, and there's been some decent reasoning behind it. Like, if my season takes a left turn in the past, I tend to mentally check out. But not this year. For one, it's not going to take a left turn. And 2, I'm a different man. Ever since I got engaged, I'm more mature. And yeah, it's not going to happen this year. But I do get why I get there's a perception out there that I do not care. But I want to leave that in the past for sure.
Yeah,
So
flip the script.
Yeah, one of my questions kind of ties into that. At what point now? How many years will it take for you to just say that that's considered just bad bad managing or
I
bad
mean,
drafting instead of just making the excuse of you just don't care?
well, last year I was in the running for the playoffs for a good majority of the year, but I do I don't have the best, or haven't had the best managerial skills. I will say I'll get super in the weeds and super in my head about it and trying to pick up a guy that's got a 6 ERA or something for a spot start, thinking he's going to do something good for me. But
Getting a little cute.
yeah, I've
That.
gotten cute, and I'm sure everyone has. But yeah. What was the question again?
Just how many years will it take you to consider it not? That you just
It's.
don't care, making that excuse and just being a bad
I mean,
fantasy manager?
I think up to this point, you can probably say, or at least the last few years, I've been a bad manager. But it's just going to take a year of me not being one, like this year, where I'm going to be in the playoffs this year. So that's how that narrative changes.
I mean, results would certainly help to get it done for sure. They'd speak for themselves. Chuck, kind of another perception type question. So, in this age of phishing, scam calls, hackers galore, it seems the margin of error has shrunk for would-be frauds. How has this impacted your recent results?
I'm confused by the wording.
It's just like frauds are kind of getting squeezed out these days. Like the environment they're everywhere. So it's like to be a good fraud, you got to be so good that it's tough to fraud your way to success these days is basically what I'm
That is,
saying. And how has that impacted you?
I mean, I don't like to consider myself a fraud by any means. There's no fraud in fantasy baseball, I don't think. The years that I was a so-called fraud squad, I had good years, and people, specifically one individual, Nicholas Nonos, I believe, who started it. He liked to think that I didn't have that good of a team, but the results were the results, and I think I had solid teams. The fraud squad thing, I don't appreciate that. I will say.
Hmm.
I know when those labels stick, I can speak for myself that like I'm like the farm team dude, whatever that shit kind of digs at you.
Yeah, well, yours is sort of a more positive light though than
I
mine.
guess, yeah, it's like
Um,
complimentary in a
yeah,
way.
it's more of a compliment.
Well,
Yeah,
uh,
than anything.
speaking of
But
labels, though, how's the lice going?
the lice, I haven't gotten
Oh
checked in a
shit.
while. I haven't gotten checked in a while. I probably should.
Especially with draft weekend coming up, man. Like we're all gonna be in
I'm gonna
close
be around
proximity to
all of you
each
guys.
other. Yeah.
I'd be worried if I were you guys.
No, I do have another question though. We all love to gaslight, make jokes, etc. Who are you planning on targeting at 7, and more specifically, who do you hope Orms takes at 5?
I'm gonna target the best player available.
It's bold.
I mean, I hope Orms takes like Cesar Hernandez at 5. Like
No,
that's
but realistic. Who do you
that'd be
think
the
he's
best
taking?
case scenario.
Let's actually get into that a little bit though, because there's
Let's
some
do.
discussion around the 5 pick and like
What?
his intentions for it.
I mean, I don't think Orms knows what he wants to do. I
Yeah.
think he says one thing but doesn't truly believe it, or he'll flip the next day. Um, he says he's not going to take Mookie, but then I guess the other day he said he's going to take Mookie. He says he doesn't like Ellie, but I don't know how you don't like Ellie. Um, I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. All I know is I'm going to get a good player at 7. Really, really and truly.
For sure. I mean, there's a lot of talent stacked in that kind of late first, early second, where kind of almost hard to pick out like who you like from the pack, but not a bad problem to have though when there's A lot of
I know
ultra
there's
talented guys.
Chicago Cub. That's an option.
There's who?
There's a Chicago Cub. That's an option.
Oh yeah, Mr. Tucker.
I think he just hit his first home run today. Actually,
he was
Did
0
he?
for spring. That's
He's
probably
1
his
for
first
20
hit of the
then?
spring.
Mm-hmm. Just in time.
That's positive. Chuck, I know you might be eyeing another Cub, not to like out your shit, but you've
Yeah,
been like a Cub.
there might be a couple Cubs that I'm eyeing.
Yeah, you've been a Cubs guy, low key. Like you had
I
Shota
have
last
been.
year. You discovered him. Write that down.
I did. Yeah, Shota was my guy last year until I traded him to you. But I was very proud of that pick. And I think I drafted Morel around the same range too. I'm not afraid to draft no Cub.
So kind of in a similar vein to that question, 12 days out from the draft, what's your read on the board and kind of any general themes on how you think the league is going to approach the draft?
I mean hitters, more hitters, and then you probably sprinkle in some more hitters.
Fair assumption.
Yeah, I mean, you at 22 is an option for Scooble, I think, but I mean, Coates, and I think he's got like 27 or something, could take Scooble, but I'd be very surprised if anybody else took Scooble. But yeah, I think it's just going to be a bunch of hitters until we get to like 50, and that's when I think probably some pitchers will start going. But
When Scooble's there at 28, he will be taken. I will say that. You can break the news there.
That's fair. If he's there at 31, I'd probably take him too. But
Hardly you're 28.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the buck stops there.
Yeah.
I know one thing though. Carlin's team's going to be so bad, it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah, that is going to be an interesting looking team there. We'll get to the bold prediction. I guess we might as well get that out there because that's not a bold prediction apparently. Because a lot of people have kind of that seems to be the general consensus that Carlin doesn't have a great outlook. But who knows? I mean, he could. I think the way he has it built, he has to like draft perfectly. But we'll see. We have Mr. Carlin's podcast coming up as well too. But.
Yeah, he has to draft absolutely perfect and. From what he's told me, that's not happening.
Chuck, so you're a bit of a gamer. If we had to select a sleeper, a breakout, and a bust of gamers in the league, who you got?
A sleeper. I mean, I know Colton plays video games. I honestly thought him first, but I know he plays video games. I could see Graham being good at some sports games, probably 2K or something.
Good sleeper.
A bust is 100% Coates. There's no chance Coates is good at any video game whatsoever.
I will say I do play him in the national championship of our college football tonight or tomorrow.
Well,
that doesn't mean much though. Yeah, he might lose by 50, but
yeah. What was the other one? Sleeper, bust, and what?
Breakout. Who's on the verge of becoming a much better gamer than they are right now?
I'm gonna say Jason.
2 kids. Now's the time. And a puppy.
Now's the time.
I'm locking
Get
in.
him an Xbox, Jason. Tell him it's for them.
Jason probably has an Xbox.
I think he's got a PS5.
He was
I'm friends with him. Yeah.
Like I said, Jason, buy an Xbox and tell him it's for them, but you play it all the time.
You don't need an Xbox.
That's an interesting pick there, but I like it. I don't know if Jason's been named in one of these. That's not really, I guess, like a draft of the league type question. It kind of is. So that might be his first mention and something like that. So that's historic in its own right. But going to a similar kind of question, and that it is a draft the league question. Chuck, if you had to colonize Mars with 4 members of the league, let's assume that there are women on Mars. So that part's like not considered, but you have to draft 4 members of the league to take with you to Mars to colonize. Who you taking? And why?
Not including myself.
Yeah, there's 4 others.
I need a forger. I'm gonna say I will take Colton because as long as we're on the same team and doing for the common goal, like we have the same common goal, I feel like he'd be good. If we came across another tribe or another group of people or something, and we were arguing with him or something, I don't know. I feel like Colton would be a good guy to have.
Yeah, he'd argue fiercely with that other tribe for sure.
Yes. Probably Connor, because he's always I feel like he has a bunch of, like, he thinks in ways that no one else thinks, like, at least when it comes to fantasy baseball. Like, he offers some trades that haven't ever been thought of before.
Known Jason Dominguez guy too, Martian sympathizer.
I don't know the backstory on that, but
just the Martian, and he's had him on his team like twice, and I think he traded Ohtani because he was like, "Oh, I'm cool. I got Jason Dominguez."
That's a take. I'll take. Who's taller, you or Orms?
Orms is.
Yeah, I'll take Orms.
His alien arms. So that's a good pick.
Just to have some size. He can reach stuff that we all can't reach.
It's 3. Give me one more.
And I'll take. Oh, God. I'll take. I'm trying to blank. Is Brock still in the league?
I don't think so.
I'll take Graham. He all-around good guy. Graham Barry.
Vibes guy for sure.
Guy. Yeah.
You need those on a planet you're colonizing, I'm sure. So solid lineup there. I want to roll into the Sneech questions. We got a few more to ask you here, Chuck. So you went from good team in regular season to fraud squad to now you wish you were fraud squad. What's next?
Powerhouse.
Okay. That's what's next.
I'm gonna be good this year. That's the plan.
Okay.
That's what's next.
I want to press you a little bit on that. Do you want to give us like any kind of inkling of how are you gonna switch it up? Like what's gonna be different as to what's gonna get you there this year?
I'm gonna not make bad trades.
Good call.
I traded Bregman for Adolis last year, and when I did that, before the trade, Bregman was ass, Adolis was good. Then after the trade, it completely flip-flopped and screwed me. I don't know, dude. I'm gonna draft better and be a better manager.
Okay. I want to ask you to kind of rattle off of that. So let's just say hypothetically, because those don't exist in this league anyways. If you say you were just for worst case, you started off like 3-5, 3-6 to start the year. Are you gonna give up, or are you gonna continue this year?
I don't have plans to.
Well, because you usually do, so that's why I'm asking.
No.
So if that does happen, then there should be a punishment for it, right?
No, not at all. There's an accountability question coming, I'm sure.
That is. That's actually second question on my list here. Before we get to that one, I want to ask any kind of bold predictions. Anybody you want to call out? It's time for that.
I think after the season, the Sneeches are going to dismantle. I don't think there's going to be a Sneech group anymore.
What would it take
because it's a good old boys club, and they can't take themselves seriously if they have Connor Taylor still in the group. And let's be honest here. So what?
Connor's hot seat. I mean, it's been a bad stretch for sure. And if it continues, then yeah, this is Connor's final season in the Sneakers.
His win was does he have another win? Championship
Yeah,
COVID year?
Not Wild West era, no. He does not. It's just 2020. But
okay.
I don't know. I'd be curious
Call
to see
yourselves an elite group.
In the league tracker, like playoff appearances, win-loss, I would think Connor's got to be at least close to 500, maybe slightly over, and more playoff appearances than not. But for sure, last 2 seasons have been rough.
Been pretty bad. Like I said, it's a good old boys club. They just like to toot their own horn, but yeah, it's everybody out on the outside is laughing at the Sneeches. It's kind of sad.
Awesome. The non-stars are having a good laugh.
Yep. I mean, yeah, and off of that, I guess I'll say that the Sneeches, there will be less Sneeches than non-Sneeches in the playoffs this year, which that's not a bold prediction. But
that goes hand in hand with Sneeches dismantling. Like
that
would take
exactly, yeah.
That's probably like no Sneech makes the playoff kind of thing for.
No, I think there will probably be 1 or 2, but it's not an elite group anymore. We all know it.
It's come under fire in recent weeks, that's for sure. I'm glad we touched on it, though. That is kind of current events that should have been discussed. So thank you for bringing that up, Chuck.
Of course.
But I want to get now to the earlier mentioned accountability check, which you kind of skipped out on last year, and what ended up being a really great year of accountability checks where like pretty much everybody had something that was fun, something memorable, and then it was like trying to list them all off, and it's like Chuck had actually nothing. So I feel like you owe us a little something extra this year, buddy.
I've thought about it, and I do apologize for skipping out last year. If I do not make the playoffs this current season, the blender's coming back out. But it's only for only the playoff teams can put something in the blender. And it's one shot.
Okay.
But
one like alcohol size like shot? Kinda.
One alcohol size shot, yes. I have to at least get it down. I have to try to drink it.
Okay. Playoff teams, 1 ingredient each, alcohol size shot in a blender. Would you do 1.5 shots?
I mean, you can pour 1.5.
It can be like a kind of like oversized shot because I feel like that's like fairly small. You could like rip it real quick and maybe kind of like get through it.
I mean,
did you not remember last time?
I know it was bad, but like, how much did you drink last time? Like comparatively, was that a shot?
To even try to get the second one down.
Was it a shot last time?
It was a shot last time.
The first one, I at least got in my mouth and like tried to swallow, but puked immediately. But the second one, I like let it touch my nose, and it like I puked abruptly. It was terrible.
All right, and then if just a shot is what it took last time, then that's cool.
It was just a shot. It was just one shot.
Then cool, that's a good amount.
That's a guaranteed puke. I'm going to puke no matter what.
Yeah, and that's a great accountability check. Like I feel like that's a fun one. I feel like
I mean, I guess I'm not one to speak because I didn't do one last year, but it's kind of lame this year.
They haven't been monetary. I feel like people have gotten creative with them, and they're fun in their own different ways. But yeah, I mean, if I had to pick like so far this year versus last year, then last year's have been better. But we got some time for some other ones to come out, and we've only had the non-playoff teams from last year for the most part on the show. So like in theory, they should get more bold because these are the guys that are like, no way, I missed the playoffs. I was just in.
Fair point.
Yeah. Any Final questions for you, Hardly, before we give Chuck the mic to close us out.
I don't think I got anything else. I'm just happy to be here. This was fun.
All right. Mr. Chuck, any closing shots or anything you want to end us with?
I am excited for a new rival in Connor Taylor. Like I said, he's had a bad couple years, so I'm looking to dominate that rivalry. I'm excited for the 22nd that weekend. I'm excited to see you guys and draft nothing but really good players that have really good seasons. With
you were in a little bit of a blender on draft day last year, Chuck. I'm sorry. Like, I just kind of put a question on my mind. Like,
I was in the biggest blender because Dawson took two of my guys right before I wanted to take them, and it sent me down a bad path mentally.
I hope that doesn't happen to you this year, buddy.
I know how the whole draft's going to play out this year, so no surprises.
That's good. That's good. I'm glad you have it figured out already. The rest of us will find out in like 12 days, probably, when you're watching this. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, Chuck, for answering the questions on all of our minds. This has been the Funday podcast. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Have a good one.
Her body like the Wild Wild West. What if you done found out, yeah? Riding in the big God bless. She's all inferno. It's a hell of a time. Burning like a candlelight. Your love is dangerous. Your love is my love is our love is. Burning like a candlelight. Your love is dangerous. Your love.
Are you not entertained?
Our love is.
Who's not entertained by my pain? Who ain't cash a check on my name? When my campaign turned to campaign, I burned $8 billion to take off my chains. Burn, baby, burn. Sometimes it hurts, I guess I never learned. To who it make us turn the CEO of the firm? It's not somewhere smoking sherm with big worm. Man, a couple wrong turns could fry you forever. It's a permanent burn. You charge it for cookie, that's bang for your buck. If you're kissing on the mouth, you ain't charging enough. You heard I was flying them out. They was trying for clout. I was dying of gout. Man, the world gone mad. Heard R. Kelly in the next Balenciaga ad.
Burning like a candlelight.